this worldwide context and paradigms and try to interpret it. And my speech today is the first iteration of my evolving thinking. So I'm sharing it with you. I need my clicker. I hope it's here. Okay. So when I started this presentation 2 months or 3 months ago, I titled it Interpreting Context, Working in Multiple Paradigms. And it was a more theoretical presentation. It has to look at how you interpret changing contexts. But I changed it to navigating paradigms because I thought I should get a more action-oriented theme to convey to you. And I love the word paradigm. Yeah? I heard the word paradigm from the book, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions, which was published in the 60s and 70s by Thomas Kuhn. But the word was first used by the German philosopher Immanuel Kant, a great philosopher. And I learned it in the context as a CEO in Prudential in the early 1990s. Yeah? Because the people who taught me customer service told me, if you really want to be innovative, if you really want to transform your customer service center or your product marketing team, you cannot ask people who are inside them because they have a vested interest in your current structure and their worldview is shaped by the paradigm they have. You want to change the paradigm, you've got to go at the margins of the paradigm or outside the paradigm to change it. So today, I'm going to ask you to relax your own paradigms of how you work, how you live, and the things you do, and examine competing paradigms and see where you are. So that was why I chose paradigm. So the first thing I want to do is to look at two extreme worldview, right? And then everything in between. The first worldview is that we are going through a period of dramatic change and revolution in the way we live, we work, and the way industry is structured. And it is unprecedented in history. Unprecedented in history, led maybe by the digital revolution, yeah? And it will change everything fundamentally in the next 30 years. And it started in the year 2007. Ask me about that. It's about speed, it's about pervasiveness, and it's about impact. The second paradigm is that the world is always changing, it's not a big deal. And we have been through this before. Agricultural revolution came and here, industrial revolution came and here, cars came and here, fax machine came and gone. So it's not a big deal. Have no fear. Everything will be fine. And there are many of these people in the insurance industry, right? Especially, our insurance industry is a complicated industry. It's protected. And after all, our industry is a people business, you know? And our products got to be sold, not bought. So therefore, don't worry, you'll come, but come gradually. I didn't say it's the wrong worldview. It could be the right worldview. And I didn't say that a worldview is the wrong worldview or the right worldview. I want to ask you to think about the logic of the worldviews because it's going to be dependent on the context you are in. Because if I'm an insurance CEO today, running a big business at Prudential, actually, my revenues are from the agency business. Yeah? And it will be through the next 3 years. So therefore, paradigm B works for me. In fact, all this digital stuff are distractions. Right? It's a reasonable worldview. But what about people who on the first left-hand side, whose worldview are completely different? So where do you stand as a young actuary, right? As a young actuary. So therefore, I'm going to sit on your side, yeah, and look at all these competing worldviews and try to make sense and logic about it. So that whatever you chose to do 10, 20 years ago and you have landed, still makes sense for the next 20 or 30 years. You got it? Okay? It's a setup. Am I speaking too quickly? No, I'm okay with it. I'm going to speak because I'm speaking quite quickly because I want to compress what I have to convey to you in the time I have. So the structure of the presentation, I'm going to explain to you basically 10 or 12 worldviews in 10 minutes. 10 minutes order. And then I'm going to talk about the actuarial conundrum in about 10-15 minutes, and then I'm going to introduce to you the idea of the Moravec Paradox and how you could navigate across paradigms. So the first thing, you have seen this book, it's a very good book about how professions will be impacted. Professions will be impacted by the digital revolution, and his central thesis by the father and son team of Richard and Daniel Susskind is that we have increasingly capable machine, increasingly pervasive machine, increasingly connected humans, and we are living in an internet-based society. And professions, like accountancy, medicine, journalism, architecture, and actuarial science are anchored in a print-based society. The four stages of society, of organization, of communication is oral, when the early man started, script, which you write, then print-based became in 300-400 years, and then now we are digital. And in the print, and our profession, actuarial science, is about 150 to 200 years old, and most professions about 300 to 400 years old. He said that professions will become less relevant and will disappear over time. That is his fundamental thesis. And then he recommend what are the things you need to go into in order to become a person who can navigate into the future. And we'll talk more about that. Then the next two books are by Eric Brian Johnson and Andrew McAfee from MIT. Great books, right? And basically it's talk about exponential growth, digitization, and recombinant innovation. That means innovation across multiple domains. What do you mean by exponential? Exponential is the 2 to the power n is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Moore's law basically says that it doubles every year, right? And it started 40 years ago in 1960, and now we are in the second half of the chessboard. We're in the second half of the chessboard, not the first half. And every year the change is massive. Yeah, you've got to use a logarithmic scale to understand it. And therefore the impact is massive, and we are reaching an inflection point. So they argue. And recombination, because it's not just about a single technology, it's about combining technologies and combining domains. Have you done Google Photos? Google Photos is not just about photos. Google Photos is great because it got facial recognition. Then they have GPS, which knows where you are located. Therefore, they've got algorithms. We can say it's a Hari Raya, it's a yoga, or it's a family, and then tell you who to share with because they have your behavioral data as well. And that's why Google Photos is a combination of multiple technologies. And the list goes endless. Then he went on to a second book, which is about machine, platform, and crowds. Because it's not just about the power of machine, it's about platform and crowds. And platform and crowds are something you need to understand, because the most massive companies in the world today, the FANGs, Facebook, Alibaba, Tencent, Google, Amazon, they are all network companies. They're not platform companies. They're not proprietary product and services companies. The next three books, the first two books are dazzling books about the rise of robots. The rise of robots, and the first book documented the amazing achievement of robots, and also the rise of machines and cybernetics. But the third book talks about the rise of artificial intelligence, right? Artificial general intelligence, which will be surpassing the intelligence of human beings in 3 or 4 decades' time. You can believe it, you can argue about it, but that's the central thesis of Max Tegmark, who's the director of the Life Institute in MIT. The next 3 books is something which all of you have to read. All of you have to read, because it is about by Linda Brayton, Andrew Scott, Siddhartha Mukherjee, and Yuval Noah Harari, because it's about longevity. It's about dramatic leaps in longevity, genetics, and genomics. I was in the ICA, International Conference of Actuaries in Berlin 2 months ago. And in that particular presentation from the professor of LSC in demography, an incredibly compelling presenter, he told the whole audience that you're blown away. You're blown away. He says that 28% of people born in Europe this year, 28% of people born in Europe will survive to age 100. I've not seen longevity improvement statistics presented that way. 10 days ago, on the National Day in Singapore, 9th of August, in Financial Times Big Read, there was an article on the 100-year life, and it was about a book written by my ex-professor Linda Brayton from LBS, London Business School. And he's an advisor to the Japanese government. 50% or more of Japanese born this year will survive to age 100. Think about that. 50% of the Japanese born in Japan this year will live to age 100 because of existing current improvements in mortality improvement. What does it mean in terms of retirement planning? What does it mean for a person? When should he stop work? Because the funding is not going to be enough. then what does it mean in terms of training and education? We live in the world of a three-stage life, right? We went to study at age 6 and graduate at 21 or 23, depending if you do NS or not. After that, we work until age 60, 65, argue the government when we should retire, then we retire. Yeah? But in that 100-year life, you will have multiple identities, multiple faces, right? And it is amazing how you will organize this in terms of education and training. Imagine someone who is born in 1918, at the end of the First World War, still alive today. What he learned in the 1920s and 30s, what can he apply today? Yeah, think about that in terms of implications. So you and our children are going to have an incredible time exploring these great issues. Right? And we have this amazing paradox, right? Amazing paradox. We have to work to a later age, right? Because our retirement funding is not enough. We work longer, because the whole thing go longer, right? Makes sense, right? But then, so government is going to give us more skills, upgrading, so we can work longer. At the same time, government is going to smart nation, and so that more machine can take away your work. That's the paradox, right? That's the paradox, right? You've got to live and work longer to fund our retirement, but at the same time, we are making everything smart, so there's less work to do. Very brilliant, right? So this is what I call a paradox, right? So you'll see many paradoxes. So the ability to think in paradoxical terms and managing ambiguity, which is a function of adaptability, is one of the key mindsets which you need to acquire as a profession. And the last set of books, are more historical narratives. Thomas Friedman, you may be familiar with him. He talks not just about the digital revolution, but climate change and globalization. The next book was a comparison about the amazing thing taking on today with the renaissance of the 1500 and 1600, age of discovery. The last book by historian Ferguson is really about the rise of networks in place of hierarchies in organization and in society because of the power of networks. It looks at Twitter, Facebook, and so forth. But the details are there. So there you are. The world is changing according to different paradigms. Right? It's digital, it's about machine, it's about platform, it's about crowds, it's about globalization, it's about mother nature, sustainability, it's about 100-year life, and it's about networks. And many, many more, depending on who you talk about. And I know that all of you, and I spoke to some of the organizing committee, they are very busy, you're too busy, and you have a 4-letter word which interferes with what you are doing. And that 4-letter word is called, not start with F, it starts with W, work. Yeah? Work is interfering with understanding all this.